Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of the Healthcare Innovation Podcast by Health Arc Insights. Today, we have with us Jagdeep Gambhir. Jagdeep is the founder and CEO of Karma Healthcare, a really unique venture within the digital health segment. So before we go deeper into this episode, and there's so many questions I have for Jagdeep, we will start with Jagdeep introducing himself, giving a little bit of his background and backstory, and then we'll dive into the topic for today.
Sure. Thanks, Dr. Purav. Thank you for inviting me and having me here. It's a privilege to be speaking and sharing my thoughts. My name is Jagdeep. I am a computer engineer by training. Born and brought up in a family of doctors, although I am not a medical doctor by profession. But born and brought up in Udaipur in Rajasthan. Then went to National Institute of Technology, Karnataka, to do my bachelor's in engineering. Did that work with Goldman, then worked in tuberculosis treatment control program in rural Bihar. Did my MBA from ISB, and then after a few years started Karma Healthcare.
So Jagdeep, you say you are in a family of doctors, but I guess now you are more doctor than the other practicing doctors, given how entrenched you are into healthcare. Were you always inclined to get into healthcare, or did the journey start by chance and then you fell in love with it?
No, so it obviously was by chance, right? I think initially, as they say, right, the grass is always greener on the other side. So when you have all doctors in the family, right, they wanted me not to become a doctor, right, but anything else. So, so it was, never a conscious choice. But then I wanted to work, at the intersection of technology and social impact, right? And then when I moved to rural Bihar, I was looking for opportunities on impact space, and it happened to come in the healthcare domain, right? And that's where I think it started. And given that it is such a high impact, you can create so much impact, right, in healthcare models. Since then, I've been working in health itself. So yeah, that's about it. And most of my my family members are not very happy. Why is he a doctor? Why is he in healthcare, right? They had planned something else, but I guess that's that's life. Yeah,
that's life. But so for I'm personally a huge fan of the Karma Healthcare model that you have built over the years. But for the benefit of our listeners, Jagdeep, if you can tell a little bit about what you do at Karma Healthcare, what is the vision? If you can, we can start with that, and then I would like us to go into the backstory a little bit.
Sure. So, our mission and vision is to improve access to quality primary healthcare in rural and semi-urban area, right? I think it is well known, especially even more so well known in a post-pandemic world, that primary healthcare systems, have to be strengthened, globally as well as in India. And when we look at rural, primary healthcare system and access to care, there are challenges, accordingly. And given that there is an extreme shortage of doctors in India, right, generally people in rural and semi-urban areas, right, have to either seek care from an informal provider, right. They can go to a government health facility, but again, there are certain shortage of doctors there, or they have to travel and ultimately seek health care from a formal provider in a city, thereby leading to a lot of travel time, a lot of expenditures, and thereby delay. So our model is that how do you improve access and make sure healthcare is accessible to the communities in rural areas. So we are a purely rural and semi-urban kind of a play. And we do it through a nurse-assisted digital e-clinic model. So we believe that there is a pure play non-assisted model, right, has its significance, but especially in rural areas where awareness levels and knowledge levels are also a bit low, having an assisted care model where a paramedic assists a video consultation between a patient and a doctor is required. So we have these physical clinics, right, which are operated by nurses and pharmacists, right, in rural India. And then, people walk in and they seek a digital consultation with patients. And then it's an end-to-end service, model. So they will get medicines, diagnostics, right, and everything at the clinic itself. Yeah.
Got it. So you have paramedics run the clinic with teleconsultation, but I'm guessing that is the key difference, that presence of paramedic enables the patient in a significant way and helps close the loop.
Yeah. So again, the way we kind of looked at is that, I mean, we obviously are a technology enabled provider. So there is a lot of technology, applications that we kind of build and develop. But when we are talking about a rural semi-urban area, the goal is to provide, medical consultations and improvement of access to care. Now, at times, if I'm a doctor and I'm trying to remotely consult, my ability to consult, or my ability to diagnose is limited, in an assisted care model, because, sometimes I might need some diagnostic test, point of care test to be done, some level of physical examination to be done that cannot be done in a, non-assisted model. But in our case, because it's a physical clinic and there is a paramedic, the paramedic actually is the eyes and ears of a doctor, right? And thereby, the ability of a doctor to, do a better diagnosis, greatly improves. Also kind of helps significantly in language and barrier issues, right? Because, when you're talking about rural India, there's so much dialect, right, that kind of also comes in. So the nurse kind of, makes that assistance, right, also solves the internet penetration, because, not everyone in rural India will have a smartphone or have an internet in those areas. So we believe that this model kind of, circumvents a lot of these challenges, right? As well as I think his model kind of improves the health outcomes a little better for the patient. So that is what we have been kind of, trying to build, on that. And you can also gather more clinical data, right, and overall improving, as I mentioned, the goal is to improve quality of, access to quality healthcare. So, quality becomes a keyword for us. Yeah.
Jagdeep, just for everyone's benefit, what is the scale of number of villages, states that you cover today? Because when you talk about these dialects, local differences, it's important for listeners to appreciate the broad geographies that you cover.
Yeah, we are now in 4 states, right, through our pure clinic delivery model. That is Rajasthan, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, and very recently in Gujarat, right? So we have about 25 such clinics. I mean, the number kind of keeps increasing, right, now because we are scaling, but 25 such clinics. But we do have, partnerships on, with various other healthcare organizations. So if you kind of take that account, we are probably in 25 states, in the country, right? So, people are using, our operating model, right, in various areas. Yeah.
Understood. Now, Jagdeep, as we go back to how you started Karma Healthcare, this is a question which I have seen many entrepreneurs and innovators grapple with, that they want to do something meaningful. They're very energized. At the same time, it's very challenging to pick a mission, right? Because you could pick so many things and they worry about picking a meaningful battle which you are passionate about. How did you go about that thought process? Any suggestions that you could also provide others based on that journey?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell about my story. I don't know if that can be generalized, or, I'm not too wise to kind of give advices, but, I'll probably share, my insight. So it happened for me when I was in rural Bihar. So I spent about 18 to 19 months in a village in rural Bihar, where we were looking at, how will technology, improve access for, patients who are under treatment for tuberculosis, right? So I kind of had an, with that had an exposure to kind of live in a village in Bihar, kind of see, access and how people seek healthcare in rural India. And that's when I think the idea for, Karma came, is that, when we realized that, there is, the access to a qualified doctor sometimes is very critical in the health system, right? Because a doctor can treat you, the doctor can do an early detection for many diseases, right? Or prescribe any test, and so on and so forth. So because I spent that time, I realized that there is a gap, right? At times people, end up seeking care from a wrong provider, or end up not seeking care at all. And that's when I thought that I'll kind of do that. So I think for me, because it came in through an experiential, experience, because I was there on the ground. I spent some time, right? And you spend that time, you will realize gaps, as well as, the motivation of what is a gap that, is meaningful and that kind of excites you. So, that's how the idea for Karma came.
Got it. Now, you and I have talked about this in the past, that you run the business in a very unique hybrid model where part of it is for profit, part of it is non-profit. Maybe if you can tell us about the thought process, how you run it, why you chose this model.
Sure. So, when you look at solving the problem of access to primary care, right? Scale is not a problem for us, right? I mean, it is a very, very large problem, unsolved, right? So, impact and scale was not a problem for us, right? There is a very large need, right? Probably the largest, in the country. And then you're not talking about only about India. If you look at all low and middle income countries, right? I mean, this is kind of, a very, big problem that needs to be solved. Impact as well, I think, is you're providing care to underserved areas, so impact was never a problem as well. The key question that we needed to solve is how do you create a financially sustainable model around it, right? And that, I think, is the kind of key determinant to scale as well. So we kind of realized that there are two broad challenges. That one is a service delivery angle, that we provide service to patients, right? And that our service delivery component is largely built on a for-profit model. You are able to deliver value to a customer, and then you charge and monetize, that value. The person who's currently going 200 or 100 kilometers to a city seeking care, and there is a lot of opportunity cost and time. You are kind of providing that service at their doorsteps. You monetize it, and that kind of runs on the for-profit. But we learned the hard way that when we look at in healthcare, on creating a great product will not necessarily translate into footfalls or revenue. There also needs to be awareness and knowledge about care seeking. So many times when we go in rural India, we have a great clinic and a great model, but people will not still come and seek care because they don't know that they even require. So for example, we go to a rural area and identify a danger sign in a child. The mother does not know that the child needs to be shown to a pediatrician. So you can have great clinic, but the awareness level is this. And awareness and behavior change is a very long-term project. If you start funding that from a for-profit commercial model, it requires a large amount of capital, and maybe we didn't have that much access to capital, right, in that. So we therefore created a hybrid model where a lot of awareness activities and kind of behavior change activities are done through a non-profit. The non-profit actually in a way creates demand, right? But that is not a demand only for our clinics. That is just increasing awareness on health. So the person might also be going to a government facility, right? And we then focus on the non-profit, on the for-profit to provide services. That is a model that is probably more financially sustainable, right, and more realistic in the areas, right, we are operating, because at the underlying, we are treating a rural audience. It's not most lucrative for many pure venture capitalists, right, in that sense. So we had to say, okay, how do we solve, that kind of comes as a challenge of entrepreneurship, and how do we find the right financing model, right? And I think that's this is a mix which the investors are also happy, and the impact is also happy. So kind of it's a good balance between both models.
That's great. And Jagdeep, over the years, as you have done this journey, has the degree of funding, degree of support for the model improved? And especially, is there a difference post-pandemic?
Yeah, so there is definitely a lot of interest in primary healthcare systems, right? So I think world over, people have realized that I think when you look at a health system model, strengthening only tertiary care system is, it is also necessary, but I think people have realized that primary healthcare models and primary healthcare sector in general needs a little more attention and a little more capital as well. So there is obviously a much more interest on our model, right? So that is kind of a good benefit of COVID. The other is that because we are a telemedicine and a teleconsult model, the acceptance of digital is okay, right? So we 2, 3, 4 years ago, when we had to kind of do a lot of concept selling to a rural customer, you can do consultation on a computer screen and the doctor will be able to do that. And then there was Nowadays, that barrier has reduced significantly, right? Because people have kind of accepted whether it is in rural India, right? So we have a little less, marketing challenge, right? On that sense.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think the idea is that um, the resurgence or kind of the increased focus on health outcomes will probably be, I think, one of the key outputs of how health systems are designed in a post pandemic world.
Got it. Now, one piece in your model, which I feel is you have a good combination of digital through telemedicine, but you also have a physical setup. You have tried to keep, in some sense, healthcare traditional, not go complete disruption. And based on your experience, was that a deliberate choice? Have you seen value out of this? Maybe if you can share with an example.
Yeah, I mean, so we have kind of this is kind of our core model. We have stuck our neck out, right, to see that we believe that this is the model which we are going to go ahead with, right? In a post-pandemic world, we also have a mobile app. We also have a website. You can go and do consultations. But I'll give you one example. This model took off when there was a lockdown. The moment our clinic opened, you can actually see the comparison between the uptake on the physical or our e-clinic model versus the online models, right? Yes, there are obviously, our focus was also there, but I think, naturally, people, when you see care seeking, especially in a rural India, trust and physical, visual, acceptance is also a big play, right? Having a clinic where you can go to, having a nurse which you in your mind can keep him or her accountable to is critical, right? For that. And I think we realize that will happen. For us, it was also more from quality and impact point of view, as I mentioned earlier, right? That the ability for a doctor to do a better diagnosis, and hence the other following clinical systems, right? Because you have a nurse, you can gather as much clinical information, right? Which otherwise in a non-assisted model will not be there. So that is where we kind of trust that. You also can drive more value and therefore kind of have a more better share of the wallet, right? So it is also a commercially viable model, right? Yes, it's operations heavy, right? It obviously cannot scale as fast as a pure technology platform, but again, I mean, we are out there to solve a problem, right? And I think the solution to the problem is what should determine the growth strategy.
Fair enough. I think while you say that it is not as scalable, I still think that from my experience, it's stable growth also. So it's a growth which will it is very difficult to undo the growth that you do in a physical setup as opposed to digital.
Absolutely, yeah. So once it's kind of set up, right? I think it's it takes time to kind of reach a steady state, but once it kind of does that, it kind of that again, as is the thing, right? The affinity to a provider is very high in India, right? So people keep coming in right to the same provider, and that's, I think, what we will bank on. So that's I think where we kind of do that, and we believe that model also has a much more impact, right, that we can kind of deliver onto that.
Yeah. Jagdeep, I have to say this, right? Whenever I speak to you, and I've seen healthcare operations, they are complex. You make it look easy, but I'm sure there have been challenges in the background. Like, what are some of the challenges you went through in this journey, which also anybody who is aspiring should be aware of, be prepared for?
Yeah, I think typically, I think, as because it's an operations heavy model, right? I mean, we are talking about operating clinics in rural India, right? And any operations in rural, right, has its own ecosystem challenges, right? That sometimes we just inaugurated some clinics in Gujarat, right? And just as an inauguration, we had to kind of do an inauguration, so we had to kind of build some buy or rent some tent, right, and those places. Now for that, because it was rural India, we had to kind of go 100 kilometers away to hire or to rent a tent person, right? So anything that happens in rural India kind of has more operational challenges that kind of happen into that. HR as well, right? Hiring nurses in rural India is a challenge. Finding places where there is internet sometimes, this becomes a challenge. Hope now I actually that has reduced significantly because of thankfully there is enough internet everywhere, right? But distances are large, right? You will not find a flight from one clinic to another, so you will have to go find a nearest airport. So it just physically taxing, right? And kind of adds to delays and adds to a little more nuanced planning, right? And yeah, I think as you scale, there are monitoring becomes difficult in rural areas, right? Because we don't have a team which is sitting in a single office, right? So how is a nurse in a rural clinic associated and aligned to our mission and vision, right, is a challenge. You have to communicate, which is at times difficult, right? So yeah, I think that is it. So my advice again, I think, is it will depend on the context, right? But one has to plan for the ecosystem in which we are operating, right? So we are not saying, okay, let's have WhatsApp bots, right? Because our customer is not going to use it, right? So or at least yet going to use it. So kind of take the ecosystem and context in mind, right? And I think it will be different solution for every context. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think also one piece which maybe you can touch upon is like, what is the virtue of having patience in this journey, right? Because I see, based on your story, and I've seen this everywhere, it's like days and weeks could be very long, but as you look back, years could be very short, and they pass by very quickly in this journey.
Sorry, I maybe
the question was like, how important is it to be patient in
patient,
this journey, patient and persistence?
Yeah, no, I think that's why we are named Karma, right? I think that was one of the reasons we realized the name has to be kind of reflective on that. The rural primary healthcare is a hard and a long journey, right? It is unglamorous, right? It is boring, right? But it is high impactful, right? And you have to do the processes right. It is in for the long run, but I think if you to create and build something which is truly disruptive as well as truly high value, at least one will have to give a significant amount of time and sacrifice to be able to do that. So that's where we are on it. But when you see a patient, right, when you go to a rural village, right, and you see a satisfied patient, right, it happened to us many times as well, right? People come in and walk up to you and explain that what benefit that we have been able to do in their lives. I think that makes it worthwhile. But yeah, it's not for the weak-hearted, that I can tell you for certain. Yeah, but that's the fun, right? I mean, that's the kick as well, in a way.
That's the kick. I agree. I think it is and like I said, I feel in these journeys, as you look back over the years, you could feel really satisfied that how much have you been able to generate in terms of impact. But that's an amazing, fascinating story, Jagdeep. I've always been moved by this story. Any messages or any thoughts of inspiration that you would like to share at the end for our audience?
I mean, as I said, I think I can't claim to be the one who can be preaching. We are still kind of learning as we go along, right? But I think one of the things I've kind of looked at, and I think what we touched upon in the previous question as well, I think it will require a lot of resilience, right? To create something which is offers a high social impact as well as a commercial value as well, right? So we are in a way also a balance because we are a social enterprise. We have to also balance commercial return versus impact that we do. You can turn into a complete non-profit, right? How will that scale? That becomes a challenge. You can be a complete commercial for-profit. That is also good, right? But has its own challenge. So there is a tension between the models, right? And I think the way we have resolved is to be very clear on the mission and the vision why the organization was created, and we have taken some certain decisions and choices, right? And I think my advice would be is that, one should never forget why the organization, or what was the problem we are trying to solve, right? I think, especially we are now 7 years into this, one does tend to find a lot of times where you can drift and, kind of move or pivot to different models. But we have kind of stayed true to the course, and I think that's what we have kind of, what I can, maybe, advise to the audience. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jagdeep. Thank you for sharing the entire story, taking the time. It was really wonderful to have you on this episode of the podcast.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Purv. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.